today's story is a lot of fun and it's very exciting. Plus, it has a very nice moral with it. Quite often, all of us think that animals are not as smart as human beings because we human beings have discovered so many things. We have traveled to space. We are doing so many other different things, right? And often we think that we are the most superior, brainy, intelligent, intellectually sound beings around, but that's not the case always. And this story is gonna prove our hypothesis of human beings are the smartest animal wrong. So let's get into this story and understand how do we how is it that this hypothesis is wrong, that human beings are not smart. So are you excited? Come on, let's begin. All right. So what happens is on one bright sunny morning, a cap seller was passing through the forest with a box full of caps. So there was this cap seller. He used to sell caps. He came from a village. So from village to village, he used to travel and he used to sell caps. And on one morning, while he was, just passing through a forest, it was very sunny and it started to get very hot. So he thought, why don't I just sit down under a tree for some time and, I take rest for some time and then I, start my journey again to another village and sell more caps. So what happens then? So since he was tired and he sat down under a tree to relax, suddenly with a cool breeze just passing through those trees and, when it is too sunny and there is a cool breeze passing through, you just feel so sleepy. You just want to close your eyes and you are already sleeping. So the same thing happened with our cap seller. So before he even realized, he fell asleep under the tree. So when he fell asleep, what happened? Something very, very interesting happened. He had his box, right, which had all the caps inside it. And he just kept it next to the tree and then he lied down under the tree and he fell asleep. Suddenly, when he woke up, to his shock, he sees that there are no caps, not even one single cap is there inside that box. All caps are missing. He was shocked. He didn't know what to do. He started to shiver that where did all his caps go? And suddenly then he started to check all the places. Then he started looking around. Where did the caps go? Where did my caps go? And suddenly he looked up and found that some monkeys were wearing the caps. So can you spot in this picture? There are monkeys who are wearing the caps. So what might have happened? When he fell asleep, somebody opened his box and who was that somebody? The monkey god or the monkey king just opened the box and he distributed all the caps to all his friends. And that's how all of them are wearing these caps and they're sitting on the branches of the tree and enjoying. And they're not letting a rain of sunlight pass on their head and they are enjoying those sunny forest ride and they're enjoying the trip. Suddenly he sees all this and he gets very angry. The cap seller says, why is it, why are these monkeys wearing the caps? And then this suddenly reminded him of a situation that his grandfather once faced. Now, what was the situation that his grandfather faced? His grandfather had faced a similar situation wherein all the monkeys took away his grandfather's caps. So from generation to generation, this cap seller's family is selling caps. So once upon a time, it so happened that this man's grandfather also came to the forest and lay down under the tree, and to his shock, when he woke up, all the monkeys wore the caps and they refused to give the caps to the grandfather. So what did the grandfather do? A similar thing that this man is going to do now. He said the monkeys, "Hey monkeys, look here, see what I'm doing." So he took a cap, he wore it on his head, and then he threw it off the ground. And he told the monkeys, "Whatever I'm doing, try to imitate me." So this was the trick his grandfather used. And using this trick, all the monkeys did the same thing, and they threw the caps down on the ground. And grandfather quickly collected all the caps and he put it in his box and he ran away from that forest. So this wise man thought, whatever trick my grandfather used, I'll also use it to my advantage. And I'll ask these monkeys to imitate me. As soon as I tell them to put the caps down, they will put them down and I will get all my caps back. So I don't have to worry. But little did he knew that these monkeys were very smart. Now, what did the monkeys reply? The monkeys were just, enjoying. They were going from branches to branches. They were still playing. They were not ready to listen to this cap seller. He waited for quite some time, but the monkeys didn't want to copy him. The cap seller kept repeating. And then he started to shout. He started playing with them. He started to grab their attention, but none of them wanted to pay attention to whatever he's saying. So then he finally got tired. And then he kept waiting. But then one monkey came down, and then that monkey came down and he said something very interesting to this wise man. And here it goes. Do you think only your grandfather told about that incident? Our grandfather also told us about it and asked us not to react foolishly. So here is the catch. So this wise man's grandfather had met the monkey's grandfather. So monkey's grandfather fell into the trap of this man's grandfather and he gave away the cap. So he told all his grandsons or the grand monkey sons that you will never fall into a human trap again. The humans will try to fool you, but you will never get into that trap and give away. And that is how you're going to win the battle with the human. This grand monkey son remembered the lesson that his grandfather had passed on and told this human over here that I remember what my grandfather told me, and that's how I'm not acting foolishly. You think you're the only smart one here? No, we have got smartened too. So the moral of the story is only humans don't evolve, only humans don't become smarter by the day, but even animals too. And here in this story, as I'd begin my story by telling you that we always perceive that humans are the smartest, but no, this story proves it wrong. Monkeys are smarter too. We'll move towards our story number 2. Again, a very interesting story, probably something that you wouldn't have heard of. All right. The story's name is The Scholar's Mother Tongue. Okay. Does everybody here understand what does mother tongue mean? What do you mean by mother tongue? People around you, your first language, right? That's a mother tongue. So I'm going to be narrating a story which is slightly different, and hoping that you guys like it and you pick up some morals from it. All right, so the story begins with a Pandit and our favorite character, Birbal. Okay, so let's begin the story. Okay. A learned Pandit once visited the court of Akbar. He told the king and the courtiers that he had mastery over many different languages. So there was a scholar or a learned pandit who once visited the court of Akbar. So everybody knows King Akbar, right? So once he visited his court and then he claimed that he knows many different languages. He can speak in so many different languages fluently. He was so fluent that no one could find out what his mother tongue was. Now, some of you here might be speaking Hindi at home, but when you speak in English, I can still find out, right, that you are a Hindi speaking person. Or if somebody's speaking a South Indian language, it is easy to catch that the person's mother tongue is this, because all your other languages that you speak is influenced by what you speak at home, right? But here this Pandit or the scholar claimed that all the languages that he speaks, he's so fluent that nobody can ever tell which language is his mother tongue. Now that's amazing. That's quite a mastery over a language. So Akbar was very interested. How can this happen? How can somebody be so fluent in so many languages that I can't figure out which is his mother tongue? Now this is very interesting. I want to find out what is his mother tongue. How do I do it? So Akbar tries to think. And then he tells his minister, Birbal, I have a new challenge for you. Can you please tell me? Can you please find out what could be this Pandit's mother tongue? But before passing the challenge to Birbal, he tells everybody in the court that whoever finds out what is this Pandit's mother tongue, I would be rewarding them with something. So everybody tries. Every minister goes and tries. They speak to the Pandit in different languages. They try to gauge something. They ask him questions. They try to know so many things about the Pandit, but nothing helps them. And everybody fails. And once when everybody fails, the challenge is now taken up by Birbal. So Birbal now is the only person who can find out what is Pandit's mother tongue. So Birbal asks for some time. He says, all right, I will see how do I go about finding the question to this answer and finding out what is this Pandit's mother tongue, but you will have to give me at least one night's time. So Akbar says, okay, that is fine. I will give you the time, one night. And tomorrow morning when you enter the court, you have to tell us what language does this Pandit speak. And Birbal says, okay, challenge accepted. So now Birbal is worried. What do I do? How do I find out what is this Pandit's language? He thinks, and suddenly an idea comes to his mind. He quietly goes to the Pandit's room when the Pandit is asleep, and he quietly goes and whispers into the Pandit's ear. He says, Pandit, and he takes a feather and he starts tickling Pandit's ears with a feather. Now imagine somebody tickling your ears with a feather. How would you feel? You'll say no in your language or some language that you speak, right? So the Pandit is half awake and he cries out suddenly and shouts out words in his mother tongue. And Birbal then disappears from his room. He knows what language he spoke. So when he was trying to tickle him down and shout in his ear and whisper in his ear, Pandit, he gets scared and he suddenly speaks in his mother tongue. So Birbal understands what language he speaks, and Birbal is now laughing. And he's like, wow, I've cracked this. Next day, he goes to Akbar And in the court, Akbar is now very curious. Akbar is like, tell us, Birbal, have you found out the question to the answer that we were discussing yesterday? Do you know what this learned scholar who's mastered so many languages, what language can he speak and what is his mother tongue? Birbal says, yes, Akbar. I know what language he speaks. He speaks, his mother tongue rather is Telugu. Everyone is shocked. Everyone is just giving different looks to each other. What? How? How did he find out? And Telugu? This Pandit is from down south India? Oh my God, everyone is surprised. They're looking at each other. King Akbar is happy and yet surprised, and he's like, that's amazing, Birbal, but how did you find out the truth? And then Birbal answers, listen to this very carefully, everyone. In times of difficulty, a person speaks only in his mother tongue. Isn't that true? Whenever you're in a challenging or a difficult situation, you only speak in your mother tongue because that's the first language you've ever learned. So that's the only language in which you can express. So Akbar was very much impressed. He rewarded him with so many things. And then he also told everyone that he went to the Pandit's room last night, and how did he go about finding out the truth. So everyone is now happy that they know the answer to the question that what is the Pandit's mother tongue, but more importantly, they learned something very interesting today, that in times of difficulty, the only language that a person speaks is his mother tongue. And that's how Birbal found out the answer to the question that was raised in the court, and that's how he is considered as the most intelligent minister ever. So that's the moral of the story.